Good day. Welcome to Mike's Diabetes World. Hey, today I want to discuss how you are the expert. If you go in for treatment in the hospital or dealing with some other treatment plan, you might have to be the expert. And you've got to get that thinking. A lot of the doctors and the nurses don't really know what's going on with your type 1. Now, I went through a stint of having to go into emergency because of low blood sugars. A couple of things happened. Excuse me. First of all, the doctor said, "Oh, you're a type 2. I can tell by your age and your size." No, I'm a type 1. And I had to tell him, "Well, order a C-peptide and let's get the answer." We ordered one. I did not have type 2. I had type 1. So be aware of what type of insulin you have. Don't sort of sit there and go, "Oh, okay." Now, the second one was I went in for low blood sugar wearing my CGM and my insulin pump. I had a nurse say, "Oh, well, you'll have to take it all off." And I said, "No." And she said, "Well, you're not going to go to DKA in minutes." And maybe not minutes, but it happens pretty damn quick. And your lows won't really be there. You'll start going high. They had to keep me overnight because in order to get me home, I would need an ambulance. But the ambulance is for something completely different. They still, "Oh, well, yes, we'll just observe you, put you in the back." I started to get a super high blood sugar where I was peeing every 5 minutes. Well, maybe not every 5 minutes, but it seemed that way. I spoke up and I said, "I need insulin." "Well, technically you're discharged. We shouldn't have to give you insulin. We don't want you to go low." And I'm thinking, I'm not going to go low. I'm already high. I need some insulin to bring me down. And they gave me, I think 7 units. For me, that don't do much at all. In the morning at 6, they drove me home, and by the time I got home, I was this close in going into what we call DKA. Now, DKA is diabetic ketoacidosis. It's a diabetic emergency, but instead of calling, you don't want, sorry, let's take the glasses off. Had to stop for a moment. You don't want your body to go into DKA. It's the worst feeling. But when I came back from the hospital that time, I was so high. I took a large amount of insulin. Maybe I didn't do the best, but it brought my blood sugars down and I started to feel better. I talked to my endocrinologist, and he was okay with it. Said don't do it all the time. If you think you are in DKA, get medical help. I would just cut. They're the ones that put me into DKA. Sorry, I don't want to sound so righteous about it, but I treated it. I drank a lot of fluids. I brought down my insulin, brought down my glucose, and feel better. If you are able to, you need to be an advocate for you. If you don't, or things could go awry. If you are unable, if you were in a car accident, or I don't know, you came out of a low hypoglycemic, have someone else there to be your advocate. People assume that the doctors and nurses will know everything. When I came here, the first thing they said, oh, well, we'll have to get rid of your pump. We treat diabetes by shots. And we explained, and I had to sign a paper saying, yes, I do. And so far, we had a few stumbling blocks, but it's worked out. Now, if you are being moved upstairs, I say upstairs because usually emergencies on the bottom floor. But if you are going to have to be moved upstairs, then make sure you speak to an endocrinologist. Let them know that you would like to control the diabetes. They may say, well, we need to do this and this. Oh, sun's clearing out and coming out now. I'm being baited. But the doctor will come in, give advice, and you can modify it. But that you could, if you're able to, type in your blood sugar. Now, if you're going in for a surgery, and remember, I am not a doctor. But this could be surgery, colonoscopies, whatever. And I had this come up. I had to go for an ultrasound, and they didn't have anything to eat after 12. But Dex, I think they're called Dex 4. You have a little pill form, and you can take 4 of them to help raise your blood sugar, because you normally don't have problems at night. The night before surgery, when you can't eat or drink anything, you're going to have a problem. And I guess because, don't quote me exactly, but because chewing and the glucose is a lot absorbed quickly, then you're doing great. Yay. Make sure when you get home you have treatments for lows, because when you're in the hospital, they will change a lot of your insulin needs, or your body might change the insulin needs. And when you're trying to get back to a regular workup with your own body, chances are you're going to go low. and you need to have sugary pop, something that you can easily consume that's quick glucose that can bring up your blood sugar. You don't want to be continually in the low side. Now, you need to show that you're able to control your blood sugars, that you understand. If you're coming out of anesthesiology, and I'll just add a little story here. While I was in the hospital, I developed a appendectomy. Or I didn't develop one, I had one. And I went, not even thinking about it, went under anesthesia with my CGM in my stomach. I woke up, everything was gone. My pump was gone. My little transmitter was gone. And I was freaking out. Luckily, my endocrinologist came in. Surgery was like at 12:01 in the morning or something. But she came in, took all this off me, and put me on to IV insulin. For 2 days after, I survived on IV insulin and then went back to the pump. Luckily, I don't know if I was really luckily, I was in the hospital for a bit of my recovery time. So they were able to watch. Now, another little clue, if you have a CGM reader, you could always give that to your anesthesiologist if you're going in for surgery. Just discuss things with your hospital. But remember, you're probably going to know a lot more about type 1 than any doctor in emergency or even intensive care. They are going to be used to treating type 2. So relax and advocate for yourself, or have a friend or family member do it. Have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bye now.